Folks, welcome to this month's featured webinar on tackling the driver distraction epidemic, sponsored by GPS Trackit and InTouch GPS. I'm Amit Jain from Rhodes, the marketplace platform which powers the GPS Trackit marketplace. Over the next 30 minutes, you will learn how best-in-class fleets are dealing with the issue of driver distraction, especially as it relates to the mobile phone usage. Mobile phone use has a direct impact on insurance costs, liability exposure, and driver safety. Most companies have mobile phone use policies, but those policies are mainly enforced through an honor system. Today, we will talk about how technology can tackle this problem by blocking the onboard phone use, thereby proactively curbing the risky behavior. We will kick off the session with a few words about the marketplace from Scott May, the CMO at GPS Trackit, followed by a presentation by Paul Hendricks from SafeDrivePod. We will end the session by viewing the SafeDrivePod solution on the GPS Trackit marketplace, as well as view the result of the data integration between the two solutions. Also, I've posted the marketplace link in the chat view in case you wish to go to the marketplace right now. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, and we will address those questions towards the end of the session. Without further ado, Scott.
Thanks, Amit. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for your interest. On behalf of GPS Trackit, we're really excited to bring you our fleet marketplace powered by our friends at Rhodes. And we recognize how busy you are. So that, combined with the rapid growth of valuable fleet management solutions, has made it challenging for many of you to find the right tools for the job, so to speak. So with the GPS Trackit marketplace, there are dozens of innovative products and services to help you reduce costs, improve productivity, increase safety and compliance. And one of our top partner solution providers is SafeDrivePod. So I'm pleased to introduce Paul Hendricks, who now will walk you through how their smart technology tackles distracted driving, improves behavior and safety, all while maintaining the privacy of your drivers. So Paul, handing it over to you.
Scott, thank you for the very nice introduction, and thank you all for participating in this webinar. I wanted to share one of my screens about the solution of distracted driving. But first of all, I want to tell a little bit more about the problem of distracted driving, because we talk about an epidemic. At this moment, we all facing in the world about how an epidemic works, but that's exactly the same for smartphone distraction. 10 years ago, this problem didn't exist, and now what we also heard from insurance companies is the biggest problem they are facing related to damage and cost. What we see, we are working in 21 countries all over the globe, is that we talk about 25% of all the claims are related to smartphone use in traffic, and it sometimes depends on the country. We see in the United States is around 25, 27%. In South Africa, where we work, is also around 27, in Europe 25. And I saw some statistic from Brazil, and that's really horrifying to see what is happening in the statistics. The problem is how to solve that kind of problems, because solving an addiction is totally different than talking about an habit. An habit is you have a good conversation, show some data and statistics, and help to move the people to better behavior. The problem of solving an addiction is totally different, because people don't want to be helped. So that's why when we developed our product in 2016, we wanted to have a closed solution, how we call it. And a closed solution is more about we eliminate the problem. So we don't, let's say, we don't talk about the problem, but we eliminate directly and start directly. If we see about the problem itself, also the insurance companies are complaining about raising of the insurance premiums, but also about the damage cost. For example, in Europe, we see an increase in people dying in traffic, but that's not the only problem. The biggest problem is heavily injured people. People don't brake anymore before an accident, and they are hit, and the damage costs are higher, but also the injured people. I have some statistics also about the US market, 27% of car accidents related to cell phone use. And we can have all kind of discussions. Should it be 27, 24, 21, or whatever percent? It is a huge amount. And it is also about, especially for companies in fleets, we talk about the damage of the reputation. It is a car with a name on it, accident happens, and it is also the brand of the company itself, what is related in the news. The problem of distracted driving, a small entrance, and for me, this is a quite important article in Time magazine, because to be honest, I was also one of them. And I think most of us are addicted to the phone itself. We are playing constantly. It is a computer. And the problem is I was also playing with the phone while driving. I didn't have any accident in the meantime, but I was aware at a certain point that there was, in a certain time of moment, there should be or would be an accident. And I thought, how is it possible that I'm addicted to the car? I fully understand that it is not okay to play with the phone while driving, to read the email, but I did it. And why? And in this article, he also addressed why we can't change our behavior on that part. The only thing that could help is eliminating the problem. That's why he also mentioned about all kind of governments who invest a lot of money in billboards, etc., in warning systems and helping people to address the problem, but it will fail. The only thing that would help is solving the problem by making it impossible. And are people happy in using that kind of products? Not always. But that's why you need to tell the story that you want to invest in their safety, not only in the climate, on the working place, in a good car, a safety belt, etc., but also our kind of solutions. Now, a short introduction about the product itself, because I think we all understand and facing the problem of distracted driving. It's not new. I have never met anyone in the market that mentioned to me, nice storytelling, Paul, but I don't realize that there is any problem about distracted driving. We all know it. When we talk, we have a three-part solution, and that's very important. I show for the camera, you see, this is the pod itself, so it is very small, and this lasts for 300,000 kilometers. And we have a bigger one that's a little bit thicker, that lasts for 1 million kilometers without changing any battery. So I would advise that is the life cycle of a car. So we have the pod inside of the car, and where you put it, I don't care. When it is in the car, it's enough. You're connected to the app, and that's only once. That's the same how your car kit in your car works. You make once a connection, and afterwards you don't have to think. And that's exactly how we developed our product, because we don't want that people think. Because of this topic, when people think, they make the wrong choices. Then they always would say, yes, I will activate it tomorrow because now I'm busy. Or I fully understand, but not now. And what is so nice about our solution, once you have installed everything, and that's only once, when you enter the car, the pod automatically wakes up, makes the connection to the phone, and when you start to drive, we close the screen. We do nothing else. So everything is normal operating, even your emails are coming in, etc. But you can't use the screen of the phone. So for example, if you keep on the sound of your phone and that you hear that messages are coming in, emails or whatever, you can't do anything. The only thing you can do is go to a parking place, and after a couple of seconds, automatically the screen opens, you answer the emails, drive again, and that's it. The only things that are still possible on your phone is navigation and hands-free calling via the Bluetooth system in the car. So you can't dial from the phone, and for most of the laws, it is also forbidden to have the phone in your hand. But cheating is always possible, also with our solution. But it's very not so many options to cheat. You could, for example, switch off Bluetooth or throw away the pod, and that are the only options you could do, or remove the app itself. All is in the dashboard. So in the dashboard, we gather all that kind of information. If people are switching off Bluetooth, or when there's no data coming in, we know that these people are not working or the pod is outside of the car. When they remove the app, it's also visible in the system. What is very positive, especially in our European market, we work without the use of GPS, so we don't track anything. The only thing we see is that people are moving, but where they are moving is for us, for our product, not important. What is interesting about our solution, we work on Android and on iOS, and I know there are some products on the market that are only apps, but are only available on Android, because closing an iPhone has to be from a distance, and that's why we use the pod. So 3 parts in the pod is we see that you are driving. Secondly, it has the possibility to close the phone, and it knows exactly when you start to drive. I will show you some statistics from the dashboard. So the fleet manager has all inside information from the drivers itself. So the average score of the people is a 7.4. 6 drivers are in, and 6 drivers are also connected to the pod. We almost always do a bulk upload from a company. So we push directly all the people who work with their email address, mobile phone number and email address. They receive an email, click on it, the app will be there, makes the connection, and then you will see this kind of score. This is the mileage they are driving, but that's not important because for us, that's a guess and an estimate. We think cars are driving 66 kilometers per hour, and for trucks, 55 kilometers per hour. When people are, let's say, cheating and switch off, for example, the Bluetooth, we see in the dashboard when they switch off Bluetooth and they get in the app a notification that they have done it. And we ask them friendly to connect again. And even we can see if people are driving and switch off Bluetooth, because for some phones it is possible. I see some questions coming in. Yeah.
Well, we'll take questions in the end.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because otherwise I will answer them. No. Okay. So I will wait on that part. If you go to we have seen the company dashboard. If you go to the user detail, so you go to the lowest level, that's the driver itself. That's me. So what we see is the miles that I've driven, the last month, last seen, which phone I have, because that's also for the support department that we can help the drivers if there is something with the system, they have done something wrong or can't log in anymore or whatever. So you see my statistics, how many times I have had a hands-free call, that's over here, and also how long that call was and how many times. So there are a lot of discussions. Is there a correlation between damage and hands-free calling? This is the statistics you can use for that kind of discussions. If we talk about overrides, that's especially for iPhone, and I know in the US there are more people with iPhone than on Android. If you try to unlock your system, and this is especially iPhone, if you try to unlock your system by face recognition or let's say the home button, it opens and closes again. The times you're trying to do this while driving with no effect at all, because we close constantly, is also in the dashboard. So we see how many times people try it even while driving. And it is also horrible to see that sometimes drivers do it 150 times per day. On Android, that's different because we close the screen. It's just an override and that's it. This is a sheet that's the participant list. So now you have seen my name, but this is the group itself. So you always see the top 3 and the rest of the company is below. I think what is also quite interesting, I will skip this one first. We have a direct messaging tool in the app itself, but also in the dashboard for the fleet manager. So if you want to communicate with your drivers because of heavily rain, storms, or whatever, you can send out a message to all your drivers at the same moment or in certain areas at the same moment. Or you could reward them for good behavior or just telling you are doing a great job or whatever. That's a possibility by the direct messaging tool. They will receive that message only when they are standing still, of course, but not when they are driving. The driver itself needs to have a certain feedback because the driver is quite important on this part. So in the app itself, it shows their personal score. That's over here, the 9.9, and it sees which place I have within the group. So this is Tim. Tim knows that he is number 2 of 7, and he knows that he has an average score of 9.9. So totally okay, fully relaxed. In the statistics, we show what they can change in their behavior. For example, there are people that switch off a lot the Bluetooth, then the advice will be use less or switch off less times the Bluetooth. Also, they get the feedback of their the total score. So what we want is to help them to get a higher score. And I think it's also important to do it always on the positive side, because rewarding will help people to change their behavior and not on the negative side. This is what I already mentioned. We work with a lot of global companies. I think for us, quite interesting examples are Heineken. Very young drivers, most of the time, let's say 20, 25, 27. The young salespeople within Heineken always use our product, and they are rewarded as a group. So as a part of a department, you are all responsible for the score of the department. The manager of the department will be rewarded of the overall score, but never knows who is responsible for which score in the group. But the whole group will be rewarded for the score. So if they have, as a group, let's say a 9 as a score, and that is the highest level, they will be rewarded and for Formula 1 driving, Champions League football, etc. But as a group, rewarded. So there is a lot of group pressure on the positive side, and I have to admit they score very well. I think what is a great example for Rent-A-Kill, we work in 21 countries already, and we have had a big rollout with them, supported by their headquarters in London, in the UK, and they can see per country how the results are, and the country manager sees only their own country and their subsidiaries in the country itself. For Holland, for example, we had a decrease of damage of 24.7%. And this is also related when you see 24.7, what we already mentioned, what the statistics shows around 25, 27%. And I'm also not totally not arrogant to say that all these reductions of 24.7% are related to our product, but what we know for sure is we eliminate the problem. So it is not about changing the behavior that people need to take certain steps. We eliminate it. And the only thing how accidents because of distracted driving by using the phone could happen is if people cheat. Otherwise, it isn't possible. Now, some other companies where we work, and think this is interesting, but it's not totally not important. I think what is the huge benefit of our product is significant loss in reduction, in accidents. The loss ratio will be better. The insurance premium will be reduced. But I think the most important part is you invest in safety of the people. And the people are most of the time the most important roller in the company itself. And we need to invest in safety. And it's also about the whole surrounding. And I think, and what I ask to all the big companies all over the globe is take their responsibility, and we need to eliminate the problem of distracted driving. Maybe it's interesting now to Amit that we go for the Q&A.
Yes, thank you, Paul. So I'll just share with you the questions while you're sharing the screen. One of the questions is, does this also apply on tablets or only on mobile phones?
That's a very good question. That also works for tablets. For example, for Heineken, and especially from the Belgian market, all these people have a smartphone, a company smartphone, and a tablet, and we close both at the same time. And that's also unique about our solution, because we can close two devices at the same moment. That's unique. To use the pod, it can use millions of drivers. That's not the problem, but closing phones at the same moment, that's unique that we can combine two devices. It's even a possibility to close laptops. We have a customer, truck company, I don't mention where, because their truck drivers were also playing with their laptops and watching movies while they were driving. And we eliminated also by blocking the screen of the laptop when they are driving.
Thank you, Paul. Other question is, it seems like you need the pod to identify the driver of the vehicle to block their mobile device. So is it fair to say that the score is not confused by or conflated with data when, for instance, somebody is on a bus or a train or as a passenger on somebody else's vehicle? That should not factor into the score, I would imagine.
No, totally not. And that's a very good answer, because most of the time app-related solutions, and just one remark already, app-related solutions only work on Android, never on iOS. People need to switch on or switch off. And the problem they are facing is when you are sitting in the train that's moving, your phone is closed, but you are totally allowed to play with the phone. If you are sitting in a taxi, you are allowed to play with the phone. And that's why, that's our whole philosophy is, we want that people don't think. So when you are sitting in your car, you start to drive, then we close the screen. And I know the Dutch people bicycle a lot. We have also bicycles connected to our pod, that when you are sitting on the bicycle, especially for children, the phone is blocked and they can't play whatever games or whatever when they are sitting on the bicycle.
Thank you. In terms of setting the policies and the restrictions, do you have to configure each phone individually, or can you do it as a group, or both?
Now it's a possibility to do a bulk upload, then everything is done at once. For truck companies, we even have, we call it an all pod solution. So for example, if you have 500 trucks and 1,000 employees, then we have the all pod solution that's just in the dashboard switch on. Then in whatever truck you're stepping into that day, from that company, when you start to drive, we close. We don't ask, we close directly. Now, an example for Android users, if you are sitting with 1,000 Android users in one truck within the same company, all 1,000 drivers are closed. But that shows only the capability. And because that's also when people need to push and switch it on, they will make mistakes.
Okay, wonderful.
They don't switch it on. Yeah.
Another question, do you have partnerships with insurance companies to get good driver discounts?
That's a very good question. I most of the time advise at that part, yes, we have a discussion with a lot of insurance companies on a global scale. In the US, not so many at this moment, but we are starting in that kind of discussions. What I advise, because what I see, a lot of our global players never paid for the product. And why they never paid for the product is, or their leasing company or the insurance company paid for this, because the insurance company get the first revenue in lowering the amount of claims. So what I would advise is to make a combination in a meeting with, now let's say with us in the call and the insurance company, and you will see what happens. But I think fully fair, insurance companies need to take also their responsibility, because for them it's also a money machine.
Thank you so much, Paul. So at this point, I'm going to quickly show everybody how to get to your solution card and also show the impact of the data integration between the solutions. So folks, posted the marketplace URL in the chat if you want to follow me. But once you click on that, you'll come to the homepage of the GPS Track It Marketplace. And on the left side, you will see a lot of the solution categories. So if you want to just browse through it, if you're looking for a certain type of solution, you have the ability to go to a certain solution category. Today, since we're talking about distracted driving, you see that there's a distracted driving category. When you click on it, you'll see that there's two solutions that are listed within this category. So since we are talking about SafeDrivePod today, I'll click that open. When you open the solution, you'll see there's a brief description. There are the costs associated with the solution. any limited time promos, which right now they're running a promo where they're giving you 2 free months of service if you sign up for their solution. There is a longer description. There's a multimedia carousel with YouTube videos. So if you'd like to see how the solution works in action, you can click on one of the videos. There's a section on who is it for. So practically their solution works on all fleet classes, all verticals. In terms of fleet size, they're focused on 10 plus trucks or vehicles at this time. There's also a spec sheet or a product sheet under the downloadable section of resources that you can download and learn more about the solution. Once you go to the solution, you can take one of 3 actions. You can apply for a free trial. It's a simple wizard, 3 screens. It asks you, I think, 5 or 6 questions about your name, your company name, your fleet size, and then you can apply for a free trial. If you want to outright buy the solution, you have this buy button, and the pricing listed over here actually is what drives the e-commerce buy flow. So when you click on this, again, 3 screens. At the end of the 3 screen, you'll see an e-contract. You'll put in your debit card, credit card information, and you'll get the invoice right then and there. Once you hit place order, you've already purchased the solution, and SafeDrivePod at that point will initiate the onboarding process. If you still are curious about the solution and want to learn more about it, there is this request info button. This is also a simple wizard, 3 screens. It has basically, again, 5 or 6 questions, your email address, your company name, your fleet size, fleet type. And then once you hit send, then at that point, SafeDrivePod, somebody from SafeDrivePod will call you and initiate the sales process, if you will. So that's how you can learn more about SafeDrivePod solution and take some action should you choose to. The webinar is being recorded, so at the end of the session, we will post it under the resource section should you want to go back and look at the webinar again. One other thing I want to share with you today is how there is a deeper integration between SafeDrivePod and GPS Trackit via Roads platform. So what I'm showing you right now is the GPS Trackit's portal. So this is their map. Imagine this is their map. When you click on this gray bar, and we're going to configure this into a rectangle at some point in time, but for the sake of the demo, we have this gray bar. When you open it and click on Company A is SafeDrivePod, you will see that along the breadcrumbs for the day, which were displayed in the GPS Trackit portal, a few of the exceptions, the distracted driving events, popped up. So now you can actually see the SafeDrivePod information within your GPS Trackit portal. You don't have to go to a separate portal. You don't have to have separate user identity or credentials. Everything is integrated here for you to take advantage of in this single pane of glass. So with that, I will end today's session and pass it on to Scott. Scott, would you like to please end the session?
You bet. Thanks, Amit. So thanks again to our marketplace partner, Amit and Rhodes, and our special guest, Paul Hendricks with SafeDrivePod. Paul, that was really insightful. Congrats on your innovation. Your solution is truly making our roads safer. So thank you for that. An additional reminder that registrants for today's webinar are eligible for an additional discount up to 20% on all marketplace products and services worth up to $1,000. So this is a limited time offer on orders placed by the end of September 30th, 2021. And for those attending our webinar live, again, we know you're busy, so I'm sure you'll enjoy your free coffee card that's courtesy of Rhodes. Thanks, Amit. And I encourage you to check out the marketplace and visit often. We're adding new products and services ongoing. And as you can see, it's a seamless way that complements your GPS Trackit fleet management platform experience for fleet, asset tracking, video telematics, and more. So thanks again for joining us, and everyone have a great day.
Thank you, Scott, and see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.